Welcome to the Data Hall YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to talk about the if statement in R. Now, the if statement is used if we have certain condition and we want to evaluate that condition. If that specific condition is met, we would want to perform certain commands. And if it is not met, we would not want to perform those commands, or we would want R to perform certain other commands, right? So let's have an example over here where we have a marks of a student, right? So we are going to create this vector that would contain 53 marks, right? So the syntax of if statement is we write the word if, and then within parentheses we have this condition, and then we have a set of curly bracket. And within curly bracket, we can have a single command or we can have multiple commands. It can be any commands, right? So what we do is we have given over here a condition that if marks of the student is greater than or equal to 50, so let's just consider that 50% marks are passing marks, right? And if the student secures more than 50, then what we would want is we would want to perform this command, and that is we want to print the word pass in our console, right? So if I execute this, we would see that we have got this character, this word over here, because we just use the print command. But in real life scenarios, we would use some more complex kind of commands, right? So this is just a basic tutorial on the if statement. Now, if this statement was not correct, so if this condition wasn't met, let's say the student had 49 marks. Let me update the marks. So now we have 49. So this marks contains this number 49. So if I evaluate this, now we do not see anything because this condition is not met. So if this condition isn't met, it would not execute the commands that are there in this set of parentheses, this set of curly brackets. Now we can use different kind of logical indicators. We can use double equal to check the equality. We can use the single equal to assign a value, but obviously in here we are not going to assign a value. We are just going to use evaluate a condition. So it can be an equality, but it cannot be assigning a value. There, in this set of curly in this set of parentheses, we need to assign. We need to check a condition. So it can be greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to. But let's just say, what if instead of not getting anything over here, we should have let's say fail written over here, right? So this is where the else statement comes in. So what it does is if this condition isn't met, then it would move to this else statement and it would perform the commands that are there with the else statement, right? That are there within this this set of curly brackets of the else statement. So in this case, the marks are 49. So what it would do is it would evaluate this condition. Obviously, this condition doesn't fulfill, so it would move towards the S. So if this condition isn't met, it would go for the else statement, right? So let me execute this. Now we can see that because this condition wasn't fulfilled, in all the cases where this condition would not be fulfilled, it would move to this part of the if else statement. Now we can have multiple conditions in the if statement. Let's just say we can have marks and we also have attendance. So obviously we just do not want the marks to be greater than 50, but we also want the attendance to be equal to or greater than 80. So this is the rule in our, say, college. So what we have done is we have specified multiple conditions instead of a single condition. We have combined those conditions using this operator which stands for AND. Now, so if marks are greater than or equal to 50 and attendance is greater than equal to 80, so that means these both conditions should be met. If these both conditions are met, it would print pass, otherwise it would print fail. So in this case, we know that attendance is less than 80. So all the marks are greater than 50, but it should print fail. So if we change that to, let's just say 89, and then execute this command, we can see pass. We can also have else if statement and what if. So normally what happens is that instead of just having, pass or fail, we have grades. Let's say if marks are greater than 90, we would want to have print A grade, right? So else, then what we do is we again use the if statement. So what would happen is that if this condition isn't met, then it would move to the second the if statement, and it would evaluate this condition. So so over here it would check if marks are greater than 70. So I mean, in case of 81 marks, obviously they are less than 90, right? So this condition isn't met. Now if this condition is met, then we know that marks are greater than 70 and less than 90. So it creates a kind of a range where these marks would lie. We would want it to print B if marks are greater than 70. Again, we have specified the else condition the else command, and after that we have specified the if command and used another condition. And at the end, we have specified the else statement, where in which case, if all of these commands, all of these conditions fail, it would move to this, it would move to these commands and it would print fail. So in this case, it should print B grade, right? So let me re-enter the marks and evaluate this. So we get B grade. So what if we had, let's say, 56? So we know that it is greater than, so what would happen is this condition would fail. It would move to the second condition. This would fail, and then it would move to the third condition. Now it would pass and it would be true, and it would evaluate the commands that are over there. So we get the C grade. So what if we had 34 marks, we should get fail, right? Now this concept is called chaining the if statements, and this is what we also call the else if statement, right? So we have chained all these else if statements. There is another concept which is called nesting if else statement, but that way of working is somewhat confusing. If you look over here, what we do is in nesting is within each else statement we specify a new if statement, and it would have its own else statement, and within that else statement we would have another if statement. Now you would have realized that it gets somewhat messy, right? It is not easy to interpret, but we do get the same results, obviously. So I won't focus on nesting. Chaining is a better way of working with the conditions. We also have this else statement. How this works is we write the if else, and this would be combined, and then we specify a condition. If this condition is met, it would print the value. If this condition is met, it would print this value, and if this condition isn't fulfilled, then it would print the second value, right? Now if we press Control Enter, we know that marks are greater than 50, so we get pass, right? Now this way of working with the condition is more useful if we would want to assign it to a variable. So what we want is we want to assign a value to an object, and we want that value to be assigned based on certain condition, right? So we want this object to be created that should either contain the word pass or the word fail. So we get this results over here that contains the word pass if the marks were let's just say, let me change that. Let's say we have 44 marks, and now if I would evaluate that, we would get fail in this results object. Okay, lastly, how do we clear a vector or object within a condition, right? So if, let's just say, we have this condition, we do not have the else statement over here, we have just this if statement, and we have 81 marks. If we evaluate this condition, what we are going to do is we are going to create this object which would contain the value pass if marks are greater than 50. Now we get this object that contains the word pass. What if now the marks are less than 50, and obviously this condition isn't met? If we press Control Enter, what we would see, the result is still pass. And what had happened is that because this condition didn't met, it didn't executed this command, so the result object didn't change. So what a better way would have been is that we should have specified null before executing this command. So what would happen is that it would be NA. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to have this over here before even fulfilling this condition. Okay, so now when we change the marks, we would have the results equal to null, and then we would evaluate the condition. So I hope that was useful, and do subscribe to this channel and do hit the bell icon.